Let's welcome His Excellency, President Benigno S. Aquino III.
Please sit down. Nagalang-galang na Inday Sara Duterte. But ikaw, bata kami yata, tumatanda na. Secretary Cesar Purisima, Babe Singson, Bertie Lim, Butchabad, pinaka-importante ho ito. Julia, Secretary Carandang, Senator Rojas, Business Leaders of Mindanao, Business Associations of Region 11, our local government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, maayong hapon kaninyong tanan. Itong mga araw pong ito, binibigyan ako 4 hanggang 6 na talumpati. Iba-iba po ang sektor na kausap ko. Naninigurado lang po kung tama itong talumpati na lang ngayon. Kakagaling ho namin sa Santo Tomas, sa Davao del Norte. Ganda ho nung landing site namin doon sa taas po ng bundok. At ngayon naman po ay napaka-garbong hotel ang pinupuntahan natin. Hindi na kami nagkaroon ng pagkakataong makapagpalit. Pasensya na po kayo. Kinakapos tayo ng oras. Diretso na ko tayo sa pinag-uusapan. Actually, gusto ko i-shortcut. Lahat nung binanggit kanina, kung hindi ho namin pinag-aaralan, tila patungo na ho tayo doon. Baka dapat nga para alam nyo, galing sa puso ko talaga to. Tatabi ko lang ho itong talumpating to. Yung nuclear power, tama yung issue. There's too much dependence on hydroelectric sources for power in Mindanao. And I was really happy to visit the Santa Cruz plant in Governor Cagas's area. Because the last time I was here, problema ang kuryente. Problema pa rin kasi paano ang kuryente, not as bad. But this is already a concrete manifestation of the lessening of the problem. And I had the chance to talk to Mr. Eramon Aboitis, amongst others, for their plans, for more generating plants of the better kind. When I say better kind, the one we inaugurated just takes the runoff from the rivers. It doesn't have to create a dam, doesn't flood the communities, but will produce 42 megawatts of new power from Mindanao. My Secretary of Energy is very, very optimistic that we will solve this problem definitely way before the end of our term. However, nuclear power, as you know, is a hot button issue. There are elements within our society, when they hear the word nuclear, they rise up in arms, vehemently opposed to it. But we are seriously studying the proposal. There are countries that have gone, Korea in particular, has gone substantially into nuclear power, and they are some of the primary sources for information that we are gathering at this point in time. The wharf, I would like to say, let's transfer from PPA to the city government, but at the same time, I have to talk to Inday Sara first, because she might not want the responsibility at this time. Let us work out the details. In short, nagugutom na ako kayo eh. Kami hindi naman ano. This is a 5-page speech. What are the highlights that I want to tell you? I met Mr. Kumar of Sutherland. Sutherland is one of our biggest engines for growth in terms of the BPO industry. And about a week and a half ago, thereabouts, I was at the inauguration of the Convergence plant. Latest facility, and they are now at the 22,000 employee level. They're the biggest single private employer in the country. They had 5,000 new employees added in that new facility of theirs, and they are also optimistic. They say that in 2009 there were inquiries for potential clients totaling 50 for the entire year. In the first 2 months of our administration, there are already 50 new inquiries, and they are confident that they will be getting a lot of these. I'm headed to America in about 5 days. As you know, the last time I traveled, the President of the Republic was Joseph Ejercito Estrada, traveled outside of the country. In fact, last week they were getting my passport for me. Why am I traveling this time around? There is even better news that I will be bringing back home. But Butchabad is present, and I remember his teaching and mentoring when I was in Congress. He told me, until it is on hand, and if you really are grabbing it, you better not talk about it, you might not deliver it. And in that particular instance, when I was in my first term as congressman, I think he was on his fifth term. No? I'm sorry, he was fourth term. There was one of our seniors told us that there were funds available from DepEd to fuel the IT sector, meaning the education for our students in the IT field. They promised us 25 computers with all of the peripherals involved. They promised us training, the software. In short, they gave us a package for 25 schools to be wired. And in the course of getting these schools nominated, having the requests made, etc., the number of offers became 35. And at the end of the day, we never got a single piece of computer equipment, and I had to shell out 35 computers out of my measly salary. So I don't know if Butch contributed. I think he did. No. So after that experience, part of my frustration these days is I really want to share with you a lot of the good news. But since I will have to go to America to finally ink certain agreements, I would rather not tell you, lest if I miss it by one. For instance, if I were to tell you that there are several tens of thousands of jobs that we will be bringing back home. And when we get here, we lose that number, let's say it's 20,000, and we only produce 19,999, I will be called a liar again. And that has happened quite often these days, but part of the territory and part of the job. And what can I share with you in terms of the good news? Look at the stock market. No? Today, I understand they reached a new high again. When I was there at the stock exchange this week, they breached the 4,000 figure. I think at some point in time it was 4,011 for the stock market's index. Today, it reached 4,013 after suffering little corrections previously. So what is important is we keep on growing. And this, as you know, is the figure that portends more foreign direct investments. And with more foreign direct investments, I think we are really on the path towards fulfilling our promise to everybody that job generations will be the first and the priority. Again, I will not go into all of the details that had been discussed earlier by the good engineer. I'm sure that this has been discussed earlier before I came here. I don't want to sound like a broken record. And broken record is an analogy for those of my age. I don't know. My nephews don't understand when you say broken record. Because then they're... So, with regards to poverty, can I just comment on poverty? We have 4.6 million families living under the poverty line. This is the target. This is the target sector that we hope the PPP 4P program and the Kalahi Seeds program will actually uplift from their current condition. So we had a lot of testimonies. I think presently it's about 1.6 million or so families that are being attended to. This year's budget will produce a doubling, well, almost a doubling, from 1.6 to about 2.3 million families will be serviced. And we hope that by, what year? 2015, the entire 4.6 million families will have been assisted in this program with the concurrent retention of the students in school and the potential for really graduating and really uplifting their conditions. However, a program as notable and as noble as that has already been receiving a lot of criticism today in the halls of Congress. Some are accusing us of raising a culture of mendicancy. And the analogy I would like to use is, if you see a person who is drowning and you throw him a lifesaver, is that wrong? And these are people who really have none of the means whereby they can take care of even their daily sustenance. And when we try to alleviate that condition, we are called wrong. No? Perhaps a lot of these people who say these things are really so enamored and so acculturized to a condition of being self-centered and selfish. No? Therefore, I ask, no, does it really make sense for us to be the big fish in a very, very small pond? Or would it be better to be a medium-sized fish in an ever-enlarging pond? That is what we can do. That is what we have already started to do. And with your help, I am sure, no, more and more can be assisted, more and more will share in the bounties of our country. And the road, the straight and narrow road will really alleviate our country from the morass it has been in for such a long time. We are here to be of service. We are your servants. Tell us how we can be of assistance to accelerate this process. We are very eager to hear from you and to work with you in the coming days. Thank you and good afternoon.